Well, I think that's the obvious one. We want to win a national championship, but we haven't really talked about that. I think to just stay in the moment, you think about just staying healthy and getting better every day. And that's really what I think the strength of this team's been this year, is just taking it one day at a time. Obviously we want to compete for the Big Ten championship. If that happens, that should give us an opportunity to go on the national scene and get in the tournament. But that's been the goal since we've been here day one. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, is to get into that 64 team, that field, and see what happens.
So far it's going pretty well. I mean, it's an easier transfer. It's a shorter throw, less stress on my body throughout the season. So I'm pretty excited to, move over to second base, and I think we'll be strong this year up the middle.
Well, losing the 10 guys, I've really given a lot of thought to this, and it might have been a little more personal just because one of them was my son. But that was our first recruiting class, and it was 5 years, and I think that those 10 guys, losing them, they brought a lot as far as attitude and experience playing baseball, summer ball, high school, Legion, showcasing themselves. So those 4 years really got us to this point right now, especially just as an example, a Steranko or a Ryan Inglis, letting them be who they are for their sophomore years. But those 10 guys, look where we ended up last year. And I honestly believe we're a much better club this year with the younger guys and with the experience we have coming in. But Wanamaker's back. He's been throwing right. He had a minor setback that scared all of us a little bit the other night. Ryan over here, that we used him in all the roles last year. I think a starting role this year with him. Wanamaker and him, the 1-2, I think can match up with anybody in the country. If they do their job and try and don't do too much. The bullpen, it's gotten better. I think depth pitching-wise is a little scary on our end, but if they throw strikes and they pitch within themselves and not try and do too much, we're going to be okay on the mound too. Closer, we're not sure yet, but Lutz, he's a seasoned veteran. He's going to come in and do his job. He might not be the closer we want. He could be a very good. A couple years ago, we had Ogrotnik just as a setup, and Hawkins. Him and Alfredo could do that, and if we don't have to push them into a closing role, then I think we're going to be really good. Much more athletic, just moving Louis to second base, that's his natural position. That's where he needs to be, and he looks comfortable, and the way he throws from different angles and turning double plays is outstanding. His leadership in the middle and infield. Steranka's at third. He just keeps getting better. DiBernardis at first base is going to be really good. Better defense, better consistency at the plate. I'm excited about our lineup. I just guard against predicting. We talked about goals. You just guard against that right now. You just take one a day at a time. But I think consistency and athletic ability is a lot better than we've had in the past.
Talk about coming off your freshman year. You had a successful season. What have you been doing to build off that? How excited are you to start the season?
I think I'm excited as well as everybody. Everybody's pretty anxious to get going. But last year, as Coach Wine said, I just got thrown out there in different roles. Sometimes closing, middle relief, late relief, and this year with more of a set role as a starter, I'm very excited about it. But what happens on the mound is just a small part of it. It really happens off the field, like with practice and lifting and running, and then I think it'll translate into success. If we get that done, then it could translate to success on the field, and I'm very excited about it.
With the snow that's on the field there now, how might that just put a wrench in preparing for the Big East games the week after that? If you happen to not play this weekend, is that a concern for you guys if you don't actually compete in a game outside?
Yeah, you know what? you just don't dwell on it. It is what it is. You know, we have tremendous indoor facilities. We have Haluba Hall. We can scrimmage in there and we can get our work in. If we travel down there and something happens where we can't field, we'll make the best of it. We'll get our bullpen work in. Just talking to the guys, we're ready. We're ready to get out of here and get started. It's been a long off season from the start of when we ended team practice in the fall. These guys went into the weight room, continued their conditioning and around Christmas they went home. They did their work on their own. They came back in shape. A couple weeks ago, we're 2-3 weeks ahead of schedule as opposed to past years. You know, guys did their work at home, and we're ready to go. You know, no excuses. If we don't play this weekend, we don't play. That means a bunch of other schools didn't play this weekend. It doesn't matter. You just deal with what is handed to you, and I think that's a strength of this team. We don't look ahead. We're not looking ahead. Although I think Friday night we did look ahead a little bit, you know, but you just got to get back in the moment and get better.
Coach, what are you looking to get out of your Texas trip in early March?
7, 8, 9 wins. You know, it's an experience. You know, this trip down to Longwood, it may not be the toughest competition, but it's going to be experience. Taking a new group of guys on the road, getting in a hotel, taking a bus trip. You know, what's meal money? You know, there's a lot of news in all this that I'm tempted, even if there's a chance we may not play, to go just to get all that out of the way. You go to the Big Ten Big East Challenge, we play a 1 o'clock game and then 2 10 in the morning games. Another challenge for our guys. You know, baseball's a routine. You want to get in routines, and you go to some of these places and you can't. Texas, those guys, they'll be ahead of us. You know, they'll be out on the field. They'll be comfortable with the grass and the dirt and fly balls and sun and wind, and here we are practicing in Haluba with no wind, no sun. The ball hits the roof. The outfielders don't move. Just all the little things that people don't understand. But once again, it's not an excuse. It's just you deal with it as a team. So we're playing some tough competition down there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I look back a few years ago when I think we started off 2-12, playing North Carolina, Oral Roberts, Kansas, Wichita State. We got a lot better. When we got into conference, we were ready for just about everything. It's a learning experience. We have a lot of young arms on the mound that, you know, might be out there against Texas A&M with 4,000 or 5,000 people in the stands. They're going to have to deal with it. It's a growing process.
You're able to get a lot of games against one script. Is that something you focus on, or is that just kind of what you get?
Well, you know, 56 games, you're trying to squeeze them in any way you can. We're a little thin pitching-wise. That's a little bit scary. But once again, I look at it as opportunities for, you know, Johnny Walter, Neil Herring, 2 freshmen to get out on and get a start. I look at a chance for a Rumberger who hasn't pitched in Division I college baseball ever. He might have an opportunity to get some innings in. Mike Pierce to get out there. You know, guys like that, it's an opportunity for them. So, you know, that many games, I think it's great offensively. You might talk to Louis about that. Offensively, I think you get, you know, the more at-bats and the more games you get in to start getting into rhythm. After that spring trip, we should be hitting our strides. On the other side, if you struggle, boy, it could be a long week and you could be in trouble. But I don't see that with this group. They're going to be consistent. I see them putting the ball in play, making adjustments, and so yeah, it's a lot of games, but that's what we go for. We want to get on the field and play.
How do you see the team coming together, like chemistry-wise, compared to maybe past years?
Very well. This is actually a smaller team than we've had in the past, numbers-wise. So we're real close together. We stay late, you know, take ground balls, fly balls, you know, come early and, you know, hit early and stay late and hit. So, you know, we're a close group of friends, even the pitchers too. You know, the group of pitchers and the position players are real close, and I think that'll, you know, help us in the long run with the long season.
Coach, when you touched on not being out of Haluba Hall, and you're still, you know, there's some things you just can't duplicate inside as outside. So how do you keep things fresh, keep everyone interested and focused?
You know, I think it's an individual. These guys do a great job of, you know, we talk about everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a role every play. Everybody's got to just handle their own business. And they do a great job of, you know, we all know it gets boring in there, and, you know, we're tired of the hours. And 10 to 12 at night and, getting up early for classes. It kind of wears on you a little bit, but they've done a great job showing up, and that's what it's all about, And as I think from a coach's standpoint, you do try and change things up and look for ways to just make it a little different. Sunday we played at 9 in the morning. We scrimmaged at 9 because women's lacrosse, men's lacrosse, they had competitions over in Haluba. But you know what? We play at 10 in the morning, so, hey, learn how to wake up, take a little soft toss, and play a game. So I just look at it that way. There's goods to everything. You try and focus on this is why we're doing this is why we're doing that, and do your job. Compete. That's sort of effort. Give effort. Well, other than Wanamaker, that was a scare Friday night, but he coming off of surgery, had no setbacks, and then all of a sudden he felt a little something, scared him a little bit. We're hoping for the best. Hopefully he'll be back in a week or so, but other than that, I think everybody's been off-season conditioning went well. I think the strength program, we weaned them off of that a little bit earlier this year. The conditioning was good, and better athletes. They're more flexible, more athletic. That it sure does help. That comes down to recruiting.
Ryan, with the scare with Wanamaker, how big of a deal, for him to stay healthy and for you two to have that 1-2 punch this year now that you're kind of in that set position?
I think with Wanamaker, he when he goes out there, he gets the job done. He wants the ball for 9 innings. He wants to go the complete game. And I think to have a personality like that as your number one and a personality like that as your leader, as your veteran leader, I think it's very important. But and I think he can do it. If there's anyone who can come back from, just a minor setback and be ready to go, it's definitely him. And the 1-2 punch, I think it would be pretty good if he gets back and we can do that Friday, Saturday thing. And I think it'll work out for us in the long run. Maybe take us deep into some ball games and take some pressure off of the freshmen and the younger guys.
Coach, along the injury subject, Blake Linsby redshirting this year. Can you talk about his injury and then what outfielders you plan on having step off and try to fill that role?
Well, Blake, this probably goes way back to maybe high school days with him. Somewhat. I'm sure we all had injuries in high school and as it goes along. But he slid last year, hurt his shoulder. Came in, he wasn't throwing the ball right, but that just aggravated. It was a major surgery, a lot of damage in the shoulder, and he decided we were going to work with him as a DH this year. But with him, part of his game is running balls down and playing the outfield, and it was a group decision that it would be best for him and the team and everybody else that he redshirts this year and gets back to healthy, and that's what he wanted to do, so that's what we chose to do. Stevie Snyder, freshman, right behind him, can play. He's a legitimate leadoff guy. He's not going to start leading off, but eventually he's going to take on that role when he'll dictate that, how well he does, but he can run balls down. He's got a good arm out there. I don't really think we're going backwards other than he's a right-handed bat versus a left-handed bat. But I really don't play much into that either. You can hit or you can. If it's righty-lefty, if somebody shows a glaring where they can't hit a certain type of pitcher, then we make a move. But for the most part, we're pretty happy with him out there and what he's done so far.
Being a senior, with your experience, like you said, how important is just kind of take it one day at a time instead of kind of stepping into preseason expectations?
Yeah, in the past we've had expectations before the season, and from my freshman year when we started off 2-12, we ended up hitting a stride in the Big Ten, and then in years later we kind of expected that to happen. But this year we're taking it one pitch at a time, and that'll lead to one at bat at a time, to one inning at a time, to one game at a time. And if we can concentrate on that, then in the long run of the season it's a lot less stressful. Thinking about winning 40 games seems like such a big deal, such a milestone to accomplish. But if you take it like in baby steps, it's easier on everyone.
We have 4 guys. There's right field is Heath Johnson, junior college transfer. I think he was an All-American last year as a shortstop. Yeah, as a shortstop. So he's an athlete, and him and Stevie. Stevie was a shortstop in high school, but we projected him out to play center field. And Sean Deegan's going to be in left, along with Craig Clark and Deegan, Clark, Snyder. They could all play center. So there's really 4 guys that are going to see most of the outfield play. And then there's Mario Aramo. Am I saying that right? Everybody screws around with his name so much, I don't know what his name is anymore. But Mario's going to see some time out there, too. He's a left-handed bat, DH catcher, outfield type. Defensively, we don't want him out there, but if it has to happen, he'll be fine. Yeah, so that's the outfield. Glantz and Montesinos at short, Louis at second, got Searer behind him, DiBernardis at first, Taranka at third. Pretty solid group.
We talked about DiBernardis at first and how you see him becoming that everyday first baseman. And just gauge his performance.
Okay, yeah, he's just real smooth out there. Like, he just handles himself like a big leaguer. When he's on the field, he's very relaxed. He just plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. And yeah, he's got a cannon at first base. Like, not too often you see a first baseman with an arm like his. So that'll help us big time in the double plays. He's real quick. He's got a good bat. And he can't really run that well, so hopefully he just keeps the ball in the air and over the fence.
We kind of touched on it a little bit, just going from inside to outside. Can you talk about what it's like picking the ball by the pitcher's hand when you're indoors and then going to outside, and how much, getting those outdoor games helps?
Yeah, early on in Haluba, it looks like a lacrosse ball's coming at you because you can't see these seams. And, it's a little frustrating at first, but it kind of helps you to concentrate a little more and, work on hitting the pitches, like hitting the fastballs early in the count. So when you go outdoors, you kind of keep that same mentality of attacking early. So it kind of depends on the person, though.
What kind of hitting drills are you guys doing other than just straight up live scrimmaging to work on that, picking up those seams, pitch out the ball, or the ball to the base?
We do a lot of drill work in the cages because we have the 2 indoor cages. So we have guys hitting, all hours of the day. People hitting at midnight sometimes after scrimmages. But yeah, we're just doing a lot of short cage, soft toss, tee work, just a lot of different drills this year. It's really helping everyone out.